All
Yeah.
right. Welcome everybody to the Be the Spark Movement meeting, May 2024. And today's topic is on loyalty. And I just want to give everybody just a second to kind of land. And I'm going to read a definition on loyalty. According to, I think it was Google definition. Loyalty is a strong feeling of support or allegiance, faithfulness, devotion, dedication, acceptance for who someone is, regardless, and being there for another through all the highs and lows. So that's the official definition of loyalty. So we're going to just start our discussion. Whenever anybody wants to talk about it. For me, loyalty is really hard because I feel like I'm extremely loyal, but I don't always get that back in my relationships. So I am looking forward to this conversation and seeing how we can dive deeper into the meaning of loyalty and how to share it with other people. And Jimmy had some questions that he had thought about asking before our meetings. So
Okay.
who wants to start?
I don't know. I think loyalty for me, I was thinking about that. I was actually going to look it up before we got on here. It's good that you looked it up, what it actually meant. But I think for me, loyalty, I wasn't introduced to it. I had to learn what it was because I wasn't introduced to it, and my family structure wasn't very loyal. So I didn't know I thought I knew what it entailed. And then as I grew, or matured, I came into understanding it a little bit better. But I think a lot of loyalty issues come with not knowing what it's all about from a younger age, and you have to learn what it is. We're told what it is, but we don't really learn what loyalty, what the definition of it. Like you were given the definition, we don't really realize. And it's not just relationships, it's like family, friends, even your kids, I always say my kids can't love me the way I love them because they haven't had to. And so their loyalty to me is a little, I feel like they're loyal to me, but it's a little different because, I brought them here. So I had a certain responsibility to them, but they don't know that kind of loyalty until maybe they become parents or become involved in a relationship or whatever. So loyalty is kind of it sounds like an easy definition, but it's really not when you really look at it. How often do we come across real loyalty?
That's true.
What I did, Carrie, I went to my app on my phone over on my side here, and I've got the dictionary app, which is wonderful, but it also you can toggle between dictionary and thesaurus. And loyalty, here are some of the words that are synonyms for loyalty: adherence, allegiance, devotion, faith, fealty, fidelity, honesty, honor, integrity, obedience, patriotism, reliability, sincerity, support, tie, and trustworthiness. Just to kind of round out, the kind of the overall concept. It's got a lot more, but those are the strongest synonyms. If I went on, it's probably another 25. So it's obviously an important concept in our culture because there's 35 or 40 synonyms for it,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's deep.
There's way more to it than
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. Jimmy has his hand raised.
Okay, according to me, I'll add on what Stark has been saying. Loyalty, when he was talking about faith, among the synonyms of loyalty, we're having faith. Faith means believing in something, even when there is no reason. So loyalty to me is when you continue to be loving, you continue to be kind, to be caring, even when there is no reason. That's loyalty to me. Thank
Strong.
you.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah, I like that thought because you are just it's you being able to be who you are regardless of what the other person is, because you're loyal and you're faithful regardless of what the other person is giving you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, Jimmy had these questions, and I'm going to ask them, Jimmy, since you sent them to me earlier, is what are some things that affect our loyalty? Because
Oh,
that's
good one. That's a deep one.
that's a good
Um,
question.
yeah, hurt, disappointment. Um, I'll give you a personal one. With my mom, I love my mom. I adore my mom. But as my mom got closer to, she passed in 2014. One thing I realized about my mom that really kind of broke my heart is she never really expected much of me. For whatever reason, I don't know what the reason, because we never had the discussion, but I realized that, and I was hurt by that because I thought, your mom would have the highest expectations for you. And so her loyalty to me was a little strained. So yeah, it can be very hurtful when you don't feel that loyalty that you have for somebody coming back at you. So for me, it was for that. I don't know if I
Oh,
answered the question, but what it brought up for me.
what Jeffrey is trying to mean reciprocation. When you reciprocate, when there is no reciprocation,
Yeah,
when the other person is not reciprocating
yeah,
the way you expected.
right, exactly. Yep.
Yes, I understand.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's a huge thing.
We can proceed. We can proceed.
Yeah. So other things that affect
For
loyalty.
me, I'll
Go ahead.
It looks like he's frozen.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jimmy.
Oh, I was saying,
He's having some internet connectivity issues.
Yeah,
Mhm.
he's saying it really slowly.
I'll go with Jeffrey. Oh. Are you getting me?
Yeah,
I
Jimmy,
would.
Yeah.
you keep locking up on us, so.
And he's probably got all the right answers and we can't hear him.
I know.
That's Murphy's Law.
Yeah. So Stephen,
So there.
Jimmy's in Uganda, so he has some.
Oh, I had no
I'm
idea.
breaking.
Yeah. Yeah. Jimmy, feel free to type things in. Let's see. Proceed. My bad. I'm breaking up. Yeah. I think a lot of things can affect loyalty. Of course, distance, like if you have someone that you trust and love and lean on and they move away, it kind of dissipates your loyalty. Of course, hurt and betrayal can dissipate some loyalty.
What I would like to, I would like to say something about loyalty.
Yeah.
The reason I'm so committed to loyalty is because betrayal hurt. Betrayal hurts.
Oh, I write that down.
Yes.
Mhm.
And when you feel committed or you focus on your loyalty to something or someone and you have been betrayed before in the past, it pulls you away from trust.
Mhm.
This is why I'm so dedicated to loyalty, because betrayal hurts. And that's what I want to share.
Yeah, so true.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that betrayal can come from anywhere, right? I mean, parents, siblings, friends, lovers.
Yeah.
Children. I
Mhm.
mean, And I think, even to expand it, it can be, when we follow somebody that we really value, like a politician or an artist, and we see them do something that is way out of the realm of what we think is acceptable, like even that breaks loyalty to an
Yeah.
extent. People not living up to your standards. And Jimmy says, I was trying to say, like Jeffrey, reciprocation is key. I, for one, its absence, I find it hard to maintain my loyalty.
Mm-hmm. I was going to ask the group too, how do you feel about, because I know certain acts of disloyalty from me in the last few years, I can feel that they've changed me. I'm not a mean or vengeful person, but I can tell that I don't know, that innocence, I guess, it's gone forever. Not that I'm turning into a mean, vengeful person or anything, but I can just feel it. I can feel I could feel my chemistries change when when particular things happen. Like I'm not gonna ever be that guy again. I'll be nice and pro and I'll try to, but I'm not gonna ever be that. How does the group feel about that? I don't know if your experiences have made you feel that way or you came back from it even stronger. But for me, I know it changed something in me. How does the group feel?
Yeah.
What it has changed in me, my level of thinking, and through past experiences, what has changed for me is the mindset. Like I said, with me being back here where I was born and raised in New York City, just for a little bit of time, my whole mindset has changed with even how I see this place now, and I really had to go and rewind my tape all the way back and play the tape to the fullest to get the jigs of parts of me that has died here.
Mm-hmm.
And what I've discovered is that it took me to go thousands of miles away from the crime scene to heal, to really heal, and to come back with a new attitude and a new look at my life experiences here in New York City. And it showed me the work I've really been putting in. Because and I'm going to share something pertaining to loyalty. When you have outgrown certain people that used to be in your circle, it's hard for them to understand who you are today.
Yes.
And accept you as being a healed, changed person. That, excuse me, train.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And accept you for being a healed and changed person to where you no longer engage on certain levels about certain things. About certain things, with your lifestyle. I'm gonna go up to the patio, but I'm gonna put myself on mute because I'm getting on the elevator.
Okay.
All right.
Disconnect.
One thing I will say, and then I'm sorry, I don't want to hog up I just want to say this about my change. One thing it did do though, is it made me go inside more and I've become a more spiritual person. I don't know if that makes sense with not being as trusting and a little bit guarded, but I can sense things. I don't know if I told you, Carrie, but I was having a conversation with somebody and I said, I don't even see, this is going to sound ridiculous, folks, but this is truly how I feel. I don't see like race and gender now. I see spirits. It's like I can feel, and as soon as the spirit isn't cool, I like move out of the way. Like, oh, I don't remember having that type of discernment before, but now I have that, like I can feel people out now so quickly. And I'm like, okay, let me move out of the way because this isn't the spirit I want to be around. So that has improved, but my trust has been, tampered. I mean, it's been tainted a little bit, but that part of me has, yeah, I've gone inside a lot more. And once you go inside, you see things either more clearly or differently at least. So I'll let somebody else.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I realized the other day how much I have trust issues. Like I don't trust much of anybody. And maybe it is that thing where I feel those energies and I'm like, I think I'm good, and I do go inside. I'm definitely more spiritual than I used to be. I think Neil can attest to that. So I think there's something to like learning to depend on yourself for what you need too. I think those betrayals turn you into a person where you really start taking a look at yourself and what you give yourself and what you need to give yourself. So kind of pushes into self-love.
Yeah, definitely.
I think my great struggle has been on expectations. I've really, as a relatively recent period of time in my life, and I'm still working on it, believe me, have struggled to learn how to let go people from my expectations about them. When I try to understand and put my mind into somebody else's situation and figure out why did they do what they do. It literally is like getting a muscle pulled because I can't do it. I don't understand people. And I've really struggled with that because I have an understanding of how I treat people and the way that I walk in the world. And then I see oftentimes what comes back, and it's very painful. And it's been very painful for a lot of my adult life. And the stories would go on the rest of the day, but I won't bore you all because I know all of us have our own. But I'm really working towards being free and walking through life with my hands open, and that includes other people, to try and let my expectations of them go and to be open to them participating in my life in the shape or form that they're prepared to offer. And it often is way different from me, and it's not the way that I would do things. And I'm often shocked at the lack of empathy that sometimes comes back. And I try to figure out all the things. And you don't want to start playing mini psychologist with people too much because you could spend weeks just doing that. And I would guarantee you, you're wrong. Whatever assessment we make of other people, what the heck's motivating them? I bet if you actually had an x-ray machine and x-rayed their brain and their life and their history, it'd be wrong. Because we're the most complex thing in the known universe. You can go to the biggest black hole in the center of our galaxy, and it's relatively simple physics. Stars, relatively simple physics. People, and then you get people in conjunction with groups and society and culture. There's nothing like it. And we're this three-part being, we're spirit, we're body, we're soul, we're past, we're present, we're the future. And it's all this stuff that, to me, the more that, again, part of the wisdom that I'm trying to walk in is just the joy every day of meeting different people. Like before this call, I only knew Carrie, and now I've got 5 or 6 other potential people in my circle. So it's just such a cool journey that we're on, and to be part of a Zoom thing like this. Thank you guys for setting it up. I don't know where it's going to go, but every day I try and be a learner, and I'm trying to get to the place where that loyalty, like you said, unfortunately, it's a little bit selfish now to myself. I have had to learn to put up boundaries, but that's also part of the wisdom, I think, as we get older. And it's not evil. Like you said, you're not changed as a bad person, but now you might have a greater dose of wisdom to know when to stay, when to go, that sensitivity to what's really going on. Because believe me, there is people out there that are not good. and they
Right.
don't have
Mhm.
any right to be in your life. They don't deserve it. They don't deserve to hold a cup of coffee for you, because
Nope.
there is evil out there, and that's an awareness, but also because a lot of times it's very subtle. It's a sensitivity that we develop through life and having our head handed to us. Because I know me, I've gone through life. I was the most optimistic investment banker on Wall Street, and I've got about 20 knives in my back to prove it. But I'm still in the industry. I've never had a complaint, never been in front of a microphone, and I could go back and tell you 20, 30 years of history, how many of the people that I brushed up against are, from Michael Milken to the people that were the part of the Wolf of Wall Street. I know that firm. I've got friends that were part of the brokerage. So it's just a amazing thing to walk on in integrity, and loyalty is a big part of it. But I do think it starts with yourself to get to the point where you are comfortable and will not let your core boundaries be violated,
Mhm.
so that you can, because you can't help anybody else. We all, I think, on this call want to make the world a better place. But if
Right.
you're empty yourself, you can't even offer a cup of water. So I know that was a lot, but you
No,
triggered it, Carrie.
Sure.
So,
It's good.
And that's what I want to say too,
mhm,
because I find that first you must be loyal to oneself first.
that's right.
Because if I'm not loyal to me, it's no way I'm going to be loyal to anyone in my circle or outside of my circle. I have to
Mhm.
first dedicate loyalty to myself. That
That's right.
means I have to dedicate taking care of my mental health, um, and what I put in my system to be well and be whole.
Absolutely.
Love it.
Neil,
once
did you
again,
have
these beautiful conversations, I'm telling you.
it is.
Mhm.
I like what he said about not, it's just a certain wisdom. So I guess
Yeah.
that's what it is, when you become more, yeah, you just more sensitive to stuff. And I don't think it comes with age. I think because I know 90-year-olds that went to the grave like dumb and stupid. I really do. So I think wisdom is something that you have to be seeking. And if
Yeah.
you're seeking wisdom, it will find you. But if you're not, dumb people like dumb people. So if you're not seeking wisdom, it's not going to come to you. So yeah, it's all a part of growth.
Yes. Yep, it's an intentionality.
Yep.
I've made that commitment, like I said, to myself, to every day looking forward to meeting who the universe serves up, but an intentionality about wanting to learn something new every day. I have friends that just returned from Costa Rica and Central America after 9 months. We're having dinner together at my place tomorrow night. They're going to cook for me with some of the dishes they learned there among the native people. And I wish I had some better way to record all that I've learned just in the 3 days they've been back. I mean, it's amazing the wisdom and the knowledge of the native plants and their healing properties. And this one does this, and I can't even contain it all. But if I didn't care about lifelong learning, it'd be great. They're my friends, they're back, whatever. But I can't even, my head's hurting just because I know tomorrow night all the wisdom that's going to drop in from them, from the native shamans that they've met and walked with.
Mm.
It's really cool.
I don't like it.
Yeah, they're great people, good friends. And they had a 30-day fast in the Amazon where
Oh, wow.
all they lived on is what they could forage and the plants that they could find. And they knew this one's bark, you boil it and you get a little tea out of it. And I mean, what an adventure they've been on. They lost a bunch of weight, but they're different people. I tell you, for the good. They came back and they shed all the impurities out of their body over those 30 days. It was profound, besides the spiritual clarity that they've got about life and who they are and where they're going. And it wasn't just some kind of psychedelic trip. It was an intentional thing that they went to, seeking insight into themselves and the world. Because our culture, we get so clouded with technology and things and television, and we somehow forget that this is just one way to see things. And it gets overwhelming because our senses, I think, can't even take 10% of it in, all that comes at us. So
Yeah.
So anyways, I'm excited.
Okay. Hello.
We got
We
you.
can,
Hey, Jimmy.
We hear you.
Okay. For me, over the time, I have been learning not to be overtouched to things. I usually share this with Kerry and many of my friends. Over the time, I've been learning not to be overtouched. I've learned to disagree and agree with people, and this has helped me to push my purpose. Sometimes I used to judge myself after listening to people's opinions, judging my purpose, having doubts about what I was doing, about my kindness, about what I was, because I was inspiring. My purpose was inspiring others, helping others. Though along the way, along the valleys, you find challenges, intimidation, but over the time, I've been learning on how to embrace those challenges, that criticism, and pursue what I need to pursue. Therefore,
Yeah, I think you're
hey,
back.
can you hear me?
We can.
Hey. Oh, so I was saying, therefore, disagreeing and learning to disagree and to agree with others has been the peak of my learning. Throughout this time when I've been with you guys, at least I'm now transforming into a better person and continuing to pursue my purpose. It's not an easy journey, but as you begin listening to others, listening to other people's stories, you get strength and move on your journey. Thank you.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
so true.
yeah. And that's the purpose of what we're doing here is to be able to share our stories and learn from other people and know we're not alone in our challenges and our trust issues and our trauma or whatever it is that comes up. And to kind of go back a little bit, I think we are all born with that deep intuition and knowing. Because there's babies that are like, I am not gonna go hang out with that person, right? They'll cry when you hand the baby to whoever. So I think we are born with that intuition and that knowing of who to trust and who to not trust. And with all the layers of expectations and disciplines and societal expectations, we lose that sense of intuition that
Yeah.
we're innately born with.
It's so true.
And
And our
so
guts don't, you know what I found too? And somebody may disagree with me on, tell me if you disagree or agree with this. I feel like our guts never lie to us. Like my gut has never been wrong to me, but I haven't listened to it. That's when I've been wrong about people and situations. Yeah, but my gut has always, I don't think our gut tells us wrong. Our gut says, oh, don't do that shit, man. Don't do that. It'll tell us.
I must
But we
agree
don't
with you.
listen to it.
I must agree with you, Jeffrey. What I'm learning and what I've been studying is that when your gut tells you something, it's your higher self telling.
That's right.
Yes, yes, exactly.
Absolutely.
What I would do is offer, if anybody has paper or can remember, there is a very famous author right now. He might be the most thought-provoking author in our culture today. His name is Malcolm Gladwell. His first blink was The Tipping Point, which was about the way that fads and shift and go through our culture sometimes within 24 hours from California to New York to Florida. But his second book, which I'm referring to now, is called Blink, Blink. And his whole thesis is that the human intuition, as you said, Jeffrey, our gut, is definitely a skill that's in, it's like an intuitive built-in thing, but because our culture has diminished its value, but it's still there. And if you can train yourself to listen to it, it's an amazing tool in your personal life, in business, in your family. The example he uses that I'll give you this one quickly. They did a experiment back in the 1970s at Harvard. They had a faculty member, a professor, walk in to a freshman chemistry class made up about 100, freshmen, didn't know each other. They're just sitting there waiting for the semester to start. The guy walks in, walks out, and then the teaching assistants hand out 100 questionnaire to each of the students. Everything about, does this person spend money well? Do they kick their dog? Whatever it was, 100 different things about this person, and they put it away. So they had another group of chemistry students at the end of a whole semester with this professor, same questions, and they looked at the results between these two groups, one that met this person for 15 seconds, another one a whole semester worth of interactions, and like a 95% correlation between the two. And what his whole premise is that the intuition that those students felt, they picked up so much that they didn't need all that whole semester to come to a very similar conclusion about this person. So it affects you in business. You got to dress for success because people are making assessments of you literally in the first seconds they'll meet you. But on the flip side, also, it can be a great warning bell that so many of us have dismissed. You're talking about it, Jeffrey. That's why I'm chuckling. I mean, how many women have I dated? Or how many people have I brought into my business world and turned into a disaster when if I had listened, because after it goes south, I'm like, gee, I knew better,
Yeah.
because we just don't do that. And it's to our great our great harm when you don't listen to your gut.
What's his name again? Can you give me his name again?
Yeah, I will. It's Malcolm, Malcolm. That's his first name, Gladwell.
Okay.
Gladwell. He's all over the internet. There's YouTube channels about him. He's really like our Mark Twain of today. He picks up these social, and he's just like 180 degrees from what common wisdom is, but he looks at it so interesting. And he's of a Jamaican, I think he's got a mixed background, but his mother, I believe, is Jamaican. And so it brings, again, a unique perspective because he brings in all the Jamaican culture, which, is a mix of all kinds of traditions. And so it gives him kind of an interesting platform that I think I enjoy. Any book he puts out, I think he's got like 6 or 7 out now. Must read. Yeah, absolutely.
Could you repeat his last name?
Yeah, Gladwell. It's one word. I can type it. Are you guys on the thing here?
Neil put a link in the
Yeah, thank you, Neil.
chat.
Yeah,
It's a really big link, sorry.
Yeah.
But
Works.
Gladwell, 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 like happy well. It's a really pretty cool name if you think about it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you
it's
That's good.
something I teach the kids that I
Yep.
teach. Because so much of society, I would almost say, forces us to lose our intuition and not listen to our gut.
Yeah.
And I just think it's very important that our youth knows that they already have that.
Yeah.
It's a gift to us.
It is.
Can you imagine what the streets would look like if it always breaks my heart when I see homeless people? It just bothers me.
I know.
But imagine if 80% of those people just followed their gut and said, no, I'm not going to go that. I'm not going to, because these friends that they have that lure them into whatever vices they lure them into, they're gone. They're gone. And here are these people, and we see the final product. But just imagine if they had followed their guts in certain situations. We're not perfect. None of us are perfect, but I'm just saying in those real important situations where I got to go left or right, if they had just followed their guts, what the streets would look like.
Right.
I want to say something about intuition, because what I've learned is your intuition is your higher self. Is your higher self making you aware ahead of time of situations that's coming your direction.
Right.
And by other people judging or doubting your intuition, your birthright, your God-given gift of knowing something by different signs or body changes you go through the transits of life, your intuition, which is your higher self, for me, anybody could disagree, but this is for me, knowing that my intuition is my higher self, letting me know from a little girl where my mother was the first one to doubt what I was, the spiritual awakening that I was having by my intuition telling me that something was getting ready to take place, tragic, that could have been avoided if they did not judge my gift, which was my intuition to get the woman the help she needed. To where it was so tragic, it made the newspapers. You understand? And for them to label my intuition as crazy, as hallucinating, or don't know what you're talking about,
Yeah. Or even
has came
right?
back to haunt them today when me still standing to be on the face of this earth after living with HIV since 12 years old. Huh? My intuition on how to get through life, through the struggles that I've had, what other people call crazy, the way I went about doing it when my back was up against the wall. But it got me to where I'm at today, following my intuition, which is my higher self.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yep. Totally
Good.
agree. Totally agree.
Well, and I think going along with that is intuition isn't always bad, right? Like it can help warn us of something, but when an opportunity comes along, then we can have that full body yes, or that full body no.
Yep.
So that intuition works in all ways to help us,
No doubt about it.
push us along where we're supposed to go.
Me meeting you people. My gut told me, yeah, me meeting you people. And then Steve, right? Is it Steve?
Yep.
Steve jumped. I'm like, man, Steve got a good vibe. So my intuition has put me in a situation where I'm in a circle of people that I feel comfortable with.
That's
I really
right.
do. I just met this man and what he said, I'm like, man, I like this cat. But yeah, so yeah, intuition can be a good thing. Like, okay, this is where you want to lean into, not away from, away from that other stuff. But so yeah, it can be a good thing. It'll tell you. It's never wrong. Your gut is never wrong, I don't think.
Absolutely. Good or bad, and anywhere in between. Yeah.
It's so good. Everybody went silent.
I know.
Some deep stuff to think about.
It is.
Sitting with that.
Yeah.
Well, someone's joining us.
They're local, it looks like to you, Carrie.
Yep.
Oh, we have another person? Oh, good. Who
Yeah.
is
Looks
that?
like
I'm not sure yet.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember phone numbers like I used to because I don't have like
You don't
no.
have to. Yeah.
I used to
I
could
don't-
rattle off everybody's phone numbers and
I would like to say something else.
absolutely.
And the better you eat, what you put in your system,
Mhm.
the clearer and the
Exactly.
more intuitive
Yes.
you become more conscious
No doubt about it.
of what you put in your diet.
Yeah.
Makes a big difference on your clarity and your intuition.
Yeah.
It affords me the opportunity by eating live food, which is vegetables, fruits, and staying away from so much meat, and stuff. Like I said, I've been living with HIV since 1982.
Mm.
I was 12 years old.
Mm.
And everybody that knows anything about HIV in the 80s know that it was a deadly disease.
Mhm.
Fatal.
But after being diagnosed with it, and not by being a willing participant sexually, but through molestation, let's
Mm.
just make that clear. I had to learn the things that I needed to stay away from to keep this disease from mutating.
Mm. Mhm. Yeah.
So by me being intuitive enough to know, not from what no doctor told me, but to know after learning what the virus actually is and how it mutates or what you can do to keep it under control where you have longer life,
Mhm.
I had to change my diet.
Mhm.
And it gave me more clarity of what I can do to have longer life.
Mm. Yeah.
And now today I stand here now. And I said I had it since 12. Today I stand here, I'm 54 and have much more life in me,
Mhm. Absolutely.
So the diet is important.
Yeah. And you know, I go so
And
far.
and that is a part of being loyal to yourself
Mhm.
with making sure your health is up to par with this time in life, because there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
And this is why it's so much mental health issues out here,
Mhm.
because people has been labeled and put in these categories for so long till they came to believe that's that's actually them.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
I
That,
was almost there, so I'm a living witness.
Mhm.
I didn't just get like this in 2-3 weeks. I had to go through some changes,
mhm,
especially coming off of drugs as well.
mhm.
Yeah, I can
Because,
see it in your face that you've grown by leaps and bounds. Like
you
you,
know,
you used to let a lot of stuff go and be absorbing all these good vibes and
because it took a lot to be able to do the inner work
yeah.
on reprogramming my mind to not believe what others was telling me I was, to
Right.
not to believe in myself that I would be able to get past the traumatic situations that I experienced as a child, as a
Absolutely.
mother, as a grandmother, and realize that all that I was labeled as, I'm not she. And I was labeled because they seen the better part of me that I didn't see in myself.
No, I
So
like what
they,
you're touching upon there. You're touching upon something I think very important because you were not the disease. Oftentimes we label people drug addict or whatever, and these names, that's not the person. This is something they may struggle with,
Right.
but that's not the person. We do that in our society so quickly with people. We label them by what they might be struggling with, and it diminishes them. It's a huge generalization, nothing to do with them, except for that's the area where they have a struggle. But who doesn't have a struggle?
right. And this is where loyalty comes,
Yeah.
because it took me to get to this point in my life where I realized that the trauma I was experiencing and had to learn to deal, and heal from, I then learned how to really be loyal to myself and understand why it wasn't in my mother to be loyal to me.
Mm. Mhm.
So it helped me to understand a lot of other things to where I can say I honestly stand firm on loyalty in all that I do and put into myself and where I direct my energy to.
Right.
Mhm.
That's your integrity.
Mhm.
Yeah. Let's welcome Tan. Tan is the one that just joined us.
Oh, okay. I don't see this. Go ahead.
Hello guys. I'm working on getting my blurry image up on the screen, but I really like what I'm hearing. I just woke up. I'm sorry, I had a long trip to Charlotte last night, but when I saw the topic in Carrie's message, I jumped on because
Yes.
loyalty has become an issue in what I have going on, and I hope I haven't interrupted anybody else, for others in my life, because I watch them almost destroy themselves because of the loyalty they have for others.
Mm.
And when the young lady Karen was speaking, what I heard was not just physical diet, like she was talking about food. I heard emotional diet and the things that we consume emotionally because we love others around us, or we have some type of attachment to others around us who
Mhm.
are not good for us spiritually. So that's the food that I heard when she was talking, and I'm going to be quiet now so that I can hear everyone else. But thank you. I'm excited to be here.
No, that's a great point. I'm glad you chimed in because I was going to say, I was going to piggyback off of what Karen was talking about as far as what we take in. What we take in also encompasses what we watch, what we listen to,
Mhm.
who we're around. All of that stuff affects us, you know?
Right.
And so for us, for our intuitive being to really flourish, we have to make sure we are comfortable about, I mean, not comfortable, are aware of what we're taking in from the music to the television shows. All of that stuff affects our spiritual well-being. It really does, regardless of where you stand as far as what your belief is, but it affects you. It affects that intuitive, being that we all have. So I was just piggybacking off of
No, they call it programming for a reason.
Right.
You
Yeah.
watch a television program, I mean, it's right there in the word. And it's extremely powerful, good, bad, or indifferent, whatever side of the spectrum you're on about things. But it affects the core of your being with the message and the energy of whatever that message is, good, bad, or indifferent. Either it builds up or it tears down. There's very little that's neutral. And you just got to be very discerning about that.
Well, I think Tan, you also bring up another point that because we all see we're talking about loyalty being such a good thing, but loyalty can also be a bad thing when you're loyal to somebody that's leading you down a bad path.
Correct.
That's a very good point,
Mhm.
and definitely needs to be considered because it can even if you're loyal to a celebrity or loyal to an ex-boyfriend or
A
I mean
child.
a child, yeah,
Yeah.
where you're loyal to somebody that's going to be a detriment to you personally, and that's probably one of the hardest things to deal with. I mean, we see it in like domestic violence
Yeah.
situations and abusers.
Keep going back into that storm, thinking everything's gonna be all right, that you can heal somebody, you can make somebody different, and you can't.
That's it. That you can help,
That you
that
can
your love can
right
help
and
or somehow
overcome.
make the situation better.
Not gonna do it.
Mhm.
Yep, definitely.
Ooh,
Well, these
I
groups
feel
keep
that
getting
right
better and
there,
better, I tell you.
right?
We have some good topics. Thank you, Carrie, for coming up with these topics because these, oh boy, we can do this for 2 or 3 hours.
Mhm.
That's a good topic, powerful topic.
Jimmy, I see your wheels turning. Did you have something to add to that?
After Jimmy go, I would like to say something.
Yeah. Maybe not. You don't have anything to say, Jimmy?
We might have to pitch in and buy him a satellite link.
We'd love it. Jimmy's very intelligent. He has a lot to
Oh,
share.
yeah, I can tell.
I was gonna say if something was just said, um, but what I was gonna say about it was your intuition, right, will let you know when you're pouring in too much of your energy into someone you love and is draining you. Your intuition will let you know when it's time to pull back and put in your pocket to keep yourself good. I'm learning now how to safeguard myself and still love enough where it's not draining me.
Right.
Because when it becomes a job and takes away from what you put into yourself to still carry the label as a loyal person, you have to know how much you're going to allow that thing or person to eat off your platter.
That's right.
Mm.
But you know, and to that point, Karen, and I hope I'm not interrupting you, but to that point, your intuition will tell you, but the reality is you have to know and you have to be comfortable enough with saying, this is hurting me, let me stop. And what I find, I have a friend of mine very, very close to me, and we often have the conversations about, you owe more to yourself than you owe to your adult child. But because he loves his child and because he doesn't want to see his child struggle, he continues to feed him off of his plate, leaving him starving because he gives him, because in his mind, this is my child and this is what I'm supposed to do. He can't separate. And I'm sorry, I'm going way down a rabbit hole, but he can't separate his love and loyalty for his child because of his role as parent from, this is an adult individual who is making poor choices and his choices are impacting me. And when you talk about mental health, you know, I tell him all the time, he's impacting you mentally, so you can't even see clearly anymore. Like, you're not even rational anymore. But it's his heartstring, not his mental processing, that's actually causing the problem. And I
can
bet
I
you
say
guys may have talked about this, but
I understand totally what you're talking about and where you're at with this, because I had this issue.
Mhm.
I had this issue with my daughter that I did not raise, but she knows who I am, and she was raised by my mother, you know, and I did everything in my power to build a relationship with her and not be just what you told I.
Mhm.
I've taken myself to her on many occasions because I felt after making some changes in my own life, I was ready to share life with her that I didn't get the opportunity. But then it started hurting me too much because I was still being rejected.
Mhm.
Mm.
And that's where
And
the cycle of trauma. That's the cycle of trauma. Yeah.
so the rejection made me pull back and go in, right? Because now this battle is no longer mine, it's the Lord's, right? It's no longer my battle because I did my part, right? So the last thing I had to do was leave a door open, letting you know when you're ready to walk through, I'll be there on the other side,
Mm.
right? Because now it's taken too much away from me and what I'm putting in my spirit to deal with my life. And hopefully you can be on that journey with me. And if you choose not to come while I'm moving, if I could reach my hand down and pull you up, I'm not going to stop going my direction. And I had to really get comfortable without my emotions attacking what I know I needed to do for myself.
Absolutely.
How are
And-
you able to do that though? Because again, it's a cycle of trauma. And when you're in those cycles, you don't always realize you're in those cycles.
Well, you know, I know what it takes, how much I can take before I have a break. I know that it took me a lot of going inward, looking at why I felt the need to be on deck after not being on deck all these years.
Mm-hmm.
It took me a lot of journaling. It took me to cry a bathtub of salty tears and sit in it
Wow.
until I was tired of drowning in my own sorrow.
Mm.
Yeah.
And said, I'm killing myself. I got to pick up myself and keep them. And let it be known that I'm not walking away from you, but I'm going to keep on going until you decide you want to walk with me.
Mm.
Yeah.
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 And
And
take
still keep the door open for that space to be available to you, because I'll first be right with me.
Jimmy, did you have something to add?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So what I wanted to say, I wanted to appreciate everyone. So far, what I'm learning is what I expected before the entire conversation. I'm learning not to be over attached to anyone's opinion every day, every time. Whenever I get to listen to everyone saying something, it's like something telling me that don't be over attached.
That's
Because
right.
it will cost you. It has been my problem from day one, being over attached to people, to situations, and that's loyalty. I'm loyal. I've been on an extent where I've been too loyal to my surrounding, to my service, to everything that I'm doing. But at least every time I'm listening, for example, right now, when I listen to your stories, I get something telling me not to be over-attached,
Mm-hmm.
not letting my loyalty consume me to the extent that I'm traumatized. There is something, I don't recall who said, who was sharing that, but there was someone who was saying no, who was saying that when you are hurt, you must stand up and say that you are hurt.
Mm-hmm.
You must not accept to be. You must not accept. Oh no.
No.
We lost him.
Uh-oh.
But Jimmy, if you can hear me while you're coming back in, that's the life of an empath. That, unfortunately, we overdo things sometimes. We just have to be able to manage or balance that out, because it's really easy for us to just go all in, and we end up hurting ourselves sometimes, either with our children, our relationships, whatever it is. So we just have to be careful about that. And like I said before, the gut does not lie. It will let you know. If you listen to it, it's 100% correct most of the time. It's what we do with the gut. That's when we make our mistakes. But if you listen to your gut and your intuition, it won't lead you wrong. I truly believe that.
Oh, okay. So what I was saying, there was something which was really nice, which I appreciated, when someone say that you must learn to say no to what hurts you. When something is hurting you, learning to say no. That's following your gut. That's being loyal to your gut. That was the peak of this conversation, if I'm to say today. Thank you for everyone for sharing. Maybe before I get to pause, I want members, what's your say? Do we support loyalty, whereby loyalty despite betrayal? Can I stay loyal even when there is betrayal? or you advise me to reduce on my loyalty in case there is betrayal? You can highlight me on that.
What I would say, because I stand as I was once in a pair of shoes, being loyal, and I was betrayed. But what I've learned was I had to forgive. I had to forgive, but it changed my degree of loyalty. It changed the distance. I put more distance. I didn't put all of my eggs in that pot to the one I was loyal to. I forgave them. And by me forgiving them, it caused me to still love you from a distance.
Right.
And loving you from a distance, I was still being loyal because I was first being loyal to myself.
And you had mastered what saying no for yourself meant. To Jimmy's point, when you are strong enough to recognize that something is hurting you and that you no longer want it to hurt you, you say no. No doesn't mean not at all. In some cases, no means this doesn't work for me, so I'm not going to do this. Doesn't mean you have to reject. You talked about rejection earlier. Doesn't mean you have to reject that person. Doesn't mean you have to reject that situation completely. Just know where your boundaries are with that person and that situation.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's good.
Yeah. So if your friend is pouring money into his child, that is, I mean,
And
that's
yeah, and the cycle is so unhealthy. It has now gone from the child to the children, because he knows, going back to the gut, Jeffrey, that you talked about, he knows in his gut that what he's doing doesn't make any sense, and that he actually, I told him, you're actually enabling him now. You're making him more entitled than he really should be. And now shifted to, well, he has my grandkids, and I got to make sure my grandkids are okay. And so again,
can I ask a question?
Yes,
is it something that he's feeling guilty about, that he has not dealt with and accepted within himself from the relationship?
The cycle of trauma, and it's not so much the relationship with he and his son, it's the relationship, I believe, with he and his father, because his father wasn't present for him. He now wants to be present, and in his heart, again, that heartstring, and not really being as reasonable as he, I believe, should be.
Right.
He is wanting to show up for his son overkill, he's overdoing it because he hasn't resolved the trauma that he has.
In situations like that, a lot of it comes from what was missing from us as a child.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
What we lacked as a child, and feeling that we have kids now, we can make up for the time that we missed out, or it doesn't have to be the same way for them. But nowadays, it's like we tend to ride with them on that coattail, like it's going to kill us if we say no, or if we don't do something. And how I was, and I laugh because it's just been a couple of months that I got to this point, because the only time I would have contact with my daughter is when it was money pertaining. When it was more than, go out to dinner, it was money, so that was the only phone calls that I get from her. And when I went to visit her, I had to go well prepared until all the money ran out. Then the story changed, and I had to pull back, and look at why you feel you need to buy love? What is missing in you that you feel the only way you need to be around is if what's coming material,
Right.
not what's coming genuine.
Mhm.
You know, so I just worked on this. Was just my assignment for myself
Mhm.
for the last 6 months.
Good for you. Good for
And
you.
I'm able now to sit with a smile because I don't feel that level of obligation anymore.
Very good. You know, in hearing you say that, I think about and Carrie. Immediately, I thought about you. It's um both reassuring and ironic how everything comes back to love.
Mhm.
Forgiveness is about love. Boundaries is about love. You know,
Right.
all of the things that I've heard on this call so far goes back to either you loving yourself
Mhm.
or how you display love to others.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Healing is about love. Yeah, I mean, it is, like I said, it's reassuring because I'm a woman of faith, but it's also so ironic in our flesh that we're searching for all these things, but really what it's about is love.
Absolutely. And I think that says something for your friend, that he does love,
Mm-hmm.
but
Not
he,
himself.
Yeah.
but yeah, he is replacing materialistic things
Mhm.
with a feeling that is love and support.
And it's
And
not all real. He'll kill himself for anyone.
yeah,
Um, for the sake of helping and showing love, but it's the love that he has to show for himself and healing and feeling it, that whatever he missed, it, like Karen said, in his childhood or from his parents or, you know, other destructive relationships he's been in. So yeah.
he's
Yeah.
overcompensating.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Never had that loyalty, so he doesn't know what it really is. Because
True.
if you don't begin with yourself, you're gonna have a hard time figuring it out with somebody else or a group or whatever it is that you believe. You,
Being
you have to start with
That's
yourself. You have to
that's
start with
like dealing with the tree of life. The tree, our family tree, right? And a lot of people, family has been cursed, and you have to break the curses off your family. However, what we grow up and lack, we try to put in and fill in that missing gap so it don't carry on and carry on.
Mhm.
And when the branches start falling by the words of, I can't do this for you, because everything then became a material thing. And in this life, the material things is not what really matters.
Right.
It's the genuine things that holds more value to what's really in your heart. And not being able to accept when I don't have something to give you and I'm still able to feel good that my intentions would to be given to you if I had it, but being that I don't have it, I don't feel guilty about not being able to say no. It's a big difference now, you know. It's a big difference with how you allow others to handle.
Right. Right.
So that's what I wanted to share.
Jimmy says, what I've learned from what Karen has just shared, for any form of loyalty, what being loyal, wait a minute. Being loyal to myself, to my intuition is key. On any day, I will choose self-loyalty to rejection, to criticism, to betrayal, being in proper bondage with my intuition. Oh,
Yep.
I love that.
that's what it's about. Thank you all. I've had oh man, I don't know how long we could talk all day if you guys wanted to, but I've gotten a lot out of this. Thank you all for all your insights.
Yeah, it has been a beautiful conversation. And I can't remember what can't remember what next month is, but it will be the third week of June. Let me look at that date real quick. The 22nd, June 20, wait, that's wrong. 1, 2, 3. The June 15th is our next one. And I can't, like I said, I can't remember what the topic is, but I will let you guys know and be putting it out there. In the meantime, if there's something that you want to put on the Facebook group, or you want to share a TikTok video or a post or anything, please feel free to put it on the Be the Spark Movement Facebook page, or send it to me and I'll send it out to everybody. So whatever works. But this has been like I felt this conversation right here. And of course, if anybody ever needs to talk individually, I am always here.
Yeah.
Tan says, thoroughly
Bye
enjoyed.
bye, guys.
All right.
Hey,
Thank you all, and I'm just sending you so much love until we meet again.
All right. Take care, everybody. Got a lot
Thank-
out of it. Take care.
Bye.